On today's podcast, I talked to Errol Lawson. This guy is literally a giant, both physically, but also who he is in the community. Errol is a motivational coach for kids and speaks in schools. He's a pastor, a minister in his own church, and a great dad, husband, and a friend of mine as well. Enjoy the show. Roll theme.
Welcome to Team Super Dad. Real dads creating their best lives ever. More time, more money, more fun. You are not alone. You're on Team Super Dad.
Hello, Team Super Dad. Welcome to the show. In this week's podcast, we talk to Errol Lawson. Yes, that's right. I mentioned him in the intro. What a great guy. Been a massive support to me. If you've never been on the Team Super Dad podcast before, this is the program and community for dads rebuilding after divorce, separation or loss. You could be a dad, you could be a grandparent, grandfather, uncle. Really this is for men who are, playing an active role in their children's life. And quite frankly, the upset of a breakup can affect children just as much as their parents, and that's where grandparents and uncles and other family members come into play. But dad specifically, if you're looking to rebuild your life, then you are in the best place possible. Today's interview is with Errol. It is a really great listen, and I hope you've enjoyed it. If you do, please then give me a a review. Give me a review over on iTunes or wherever else you leave your podcast reviews. It really is a great support to the podcast and to the success of Team Super Dad, which I thank you for being part of. If you would like to know more about working with Team Super Dad, then the Rebuild program is the place to start. It's an awesome 5-week course to really put in place the structure, build the confidence, really get a game plan down to help you create the best life possible. And that is what Team Super Dad's all about. Until then, enjoy this interview with Errol Lawson, and I'll see you on the other side. Cheers. Greetings. Hello, Team Super Dad. We're here on the podcast talking today with a fabulous chap, an old friend of mine, someone I participated on a program, the Key Person of Influence course with, and has since become a trusted and very important friend, Mr. Errol Lawson. It's great to have you here today, Errol.
Thank you for having us, Johnny. Good to be here, man.
Oh, thanks for making the time and bringing your knowledge and wisdom to us. Errol, I'm working on these bios and having people share them, but I didn't quite.
I didn't send you mine.
I did. Well, I only asked you yesterday, so I do take some responsibility for that. But why don't you give us the entering the ring?
Wow. Okay. Well, my name's Errol Lawson. I'm a minister in a church in Birmingham here. I'm also an author. I've written 3 books, 2 bestsellers. First one's a biographical book called From the Postcode to the Globe, How to Overcome Limitations and Realize Your Potential. My second one's called Teenpreneur, How to Build a Business in Your Teens. I'm passionate about entrepreneurship, passionate about helping teenagers especially learn how to make money legally. And my third one's a leadership book called The 5 Core Abilities of Highly Effective Leaders. We're in a business called Emerge Leadership based here in Birmingham. And we coach, mentor, train teachers, students, leaders in education, and entrepreneurs. And I'm just an all-round passionate guy, really, passionate about transforming lives and seeing people be the best that they can be, in a nutshell.
Awesome. And you got your own podcast, haven't you, as well?
Yep. In fact, my third book, The Rising Generation, the 5 Core Abilities, was I actually started the podcast to write that book. The idea was that I wanted to write about leadership. Let me interview loads of leaders from around the world, hear their stories, see what lessons they can teach me, and put that into a book, basically. And that's what he did.
Awesome.
It's called The Rising Generation.
The important thing, right? I run the London podcasting community, and you got to tell people how many episodes you're up to on your podcast, because this is the distinction between how hard something is to start, but how even harder it is to carry on. So how many episodes are you up to?
About 147, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mate, that is awesome. I mean, full acknowledgement of that. I think
It's one of the best things that I've done.
Yeah.
It's one of the best things that I've done for sure, without a doubt. The conversations I've had, the people I've had to be able to meet and speak to, just for personal growth, amazing.
Awesome. Well, that in a nutshell is what this Team Super Dad podcast is about, really. It's an opportunity to have people speak into the 6 keys of Team Super Dad: the health, wealth, love, faith, fun, and personal power, which
Sure.
I'm always quite conscious that that's a lot of things to take on board. But when I look at my journey, both coming out of my marriage into this whole separation saga and then rebuilding, it's, you know, a lot of communities and a lot of programs that are out there, they'll focus in on fitness, you know, or money, you know, let's go out and make money or something. And I'm really present to the fact that each of those areas is so important. They're hard work to actually turn around and find some momentum in, but without all of them, to some degree, going in a positive direction, the others aren't really going to be successful either. So, my point being,
it's that challenge we all have, right? To try to manage those areas of our lives and keep that, it's like a conveyor belt, like 6 conveyor belts, all kind of moving at different speeds, and you're trying to keep them all maintained, and it's a challenge. But you're right, they all do matter. You're right.
Yeah. And I always seem to make life hard for myself. But the reality is, as I was saying, you know, the just for a guy to build a successful life, rebuild a successful life, you know, being as fit as you've ever been in your life, but not having the financial security to go with it, not having the faith or the self-confidence, it's pretty meaningless. So, well, and where have you been today? I understand you've been at a school today. This is part of your work.
University College Birmingham, speaking to students there, just inspiring them to really, take a hold of their opportunities and be the best that they can be. Really sharing some of my personal story with them, and just inspiring them. That's what I do. That's Errol Lawson's life. But I love it. I absolutely love what I get to do. Love the opportunity that I had today to speak to the students. Brilliant.
And if you don't mind me asking, you know, having known each other now for blimey, it's it's like 8 years, like crazy. You've had to push through on that subject, challenges, getting into schools, questioning like, am I doing the right thing? Am I not doing the right thing? And then just as we were warming up for this, you were talking about how students came up to you after today and how you've impacted their lives. What's kept you going, and how do you maintain the belief that you're doing the right thing?
Well, great question, man. It's not easy, Johnny. It's not easy. I think, because you're right, there has been those times of questioning. Am I doing the right thing? What should I be doing? Am I living on purpose? Am I focusing on the right areas or not, In the midst of that, trying to make money to provide for the family and keep my family happy and connect with my family and develop my key relationships, It's huge, man. It's huge. I think my compass has been my faith in many ways. So we planted a church in Birmingham here about 5 weeks ago. I've been in ministry since 2007, but, I was a youth pastor full-time for about 5-6 years. And then I pastored in a local church in Birmingham here, just like as an assistant to the senior pastor, youth pastor there. And we just felt led and called. I think throughout my journey of running business, doing all the different things, I've always had this sense of a calling of God in my life, a sense of the number one thing that's changed my life is my faith. The thing that matters most to me, that is most deeply important to me, is my faith. And I've enjoyed more than anything else seeing others either grow in their faith or find freedom in their faith and be set free, And that's what I love. And so I feel like along the way, I've always had this sense of knowing that that's where I'm meant to be. That's what I'm supposed to be doing. So now it's turned out through lots of prayer, lots of sacrifice, lots of ups and downs. I find myself now leading a church. I am the senior pastor. We've got a congregation. We have Sunday services. We're growing. And it's just an amazing thing. So I think, there's always been that compass, that pillar that place to come back to. Do you know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
probably kept me going through it all.
And just briefly, just as you touched on your family there, you got married midway through us knowing each other. You've now got 2 kids, and
Yeah.
you've gone from being a young black
You guys
man
came to
in
my
the
wedding?
community to being a church leader, married man, father.
It's been like so fast as well. Like we were married in 2015, got 2 babies now, 2 little girls. Gabriella, age 2, Ariana is about 6 months old, 7 months old now. It's all happened so quickly. Thank God I've got an amazing wife who supports me and is, in my corner. So we work together on a lot of stuff. And, marriage isn't without challenge, especially when you've got 2 little kids who are saying you're not allowed to sleep. And, you're trying to just, manage the complexity of raising 2 babies and, again, grow business and do church and pursue purpose and stay on track, and knowing when to stop and say, we need to pause here for a season or let go of this for a season. It's not easy, man. It's not easy. It's a big challenge.
But you're doing it, and you've got the people around you, I dare say, who's helping you there. Now, listen, the theme for our series 1 of the Team Super Dad podcast is all about the emergency brake, and I've tried to find a sanitized way of saying it, but really what to do when the shit hits the fan. And you were really there for me when the shit hit the fan for me. And even in what you're sharing there about yourself, you've got a lot of different pressures and focuses and the sense of how do you keep those plates spinning, those balls in the air.
Yeah.
What would you say to someone? I don't know. Let's look at this from the place of where I was. You were you stepped up as a couple of people did, and were a great support to me. I don't want to say why did you do that, but you took the opportunity to do it, and you were a massive help to me.
Yeah, there's 2 things here, I think, right? So there's a I can deal with it in a faith perspective first of all. Then, so from a faith angle, right? There's always this real sense of a couple of things. Number one, knowing where I've come from. All right, so none of us are perfect. Everyone's got a story, and everyone knows if they're really honest with themselves, they know that they've, if not for the grace of God, where would they be?
Yeah.
And so it's easy to look at someone who's struggling and judge and condemn and think, what an idiot, but actually we've all been that idiot, if you like, And so the best thing we can do is be gracious and be loving. The other thing about faith is that, and faith for me, faith teaches that. Faith is how I learn that. The other thing is that, our challenge is to get a picture of God in our hearts that's bigger than our current situation. And when we're going through a challenge or a pit or a prison-like situation, the hardest thing to do is to get a glimpse or a picture of a God who is loving, who's benevolent, who's generous, who's kind, who's faithful, and who's all-knowing and all-powerful. That's bigger than what we're facing right now, because what we're in feels so deeply disempowering and oppressive that we can't see the light, the wood for the trees. So in a faith angle, that's the key, that's the thing there. But in a non-faith angle, and I think it's equally as powerful in the sense is that we've got to create a picture of our future that's bigger than the picture of our past. And again, it's so hard to do. Like, how do I, in the midst of this scenario, whether it's a divorce, or whether it's a bereavement, whether it's a loss of a job, whether it's a serious addiction, how do I create a picture of my future that's greater and bigger than the picture of my past? And that's what I think my desire in the midst of all what you were going through was to help you see that somehow you're an amazing guy. Like, you're talented, you're gifted, you've got great abilities and talents and a great future ahead of you. You're a great dad, you love your kids. Do you know what I mean? I'm trying to help you to see that picture of a bigger future that will pull you forward, in a sense.
Yeah, you know, and you're reminding me. I mean, I had this conversation with someone else the other day, and it was such a whirlwind of a time. I can't even remember some of it, but just in what you're saying there, yeah, that's exactly what you were doing, and literally pulling me towards the light, you know, so to speak,
Mm,
but pulling me towards the future, and the belief that it was going to be all right, that the good times will come in, and
mm,
this pain, which, yeah, exactly like you said, a day
mm,
felt like a week felt
mm.
like a month. Um, so some
It's tough,
grounding
man.
there, just some
Mm,
grounding, and to be able to,
mm,
and it wasn't like we spoke every day, but just to be able to, the
mm,
times that we did, it was either
mm,
randomly that you called me and it just happened to be the perfect moment, or I reached
mm,
out and we just chatted for half hour, 45 minutes. It's so
mm.
important that people find someone who can be that for them, or have the
Yeah.
confidence to actually, maybe they've not been that close to their brother
Mm,
or their cousin or whoever it
mm,
might be, or their best mate, but they actually say,
mm.
I need some help. Can you be that person?
Absolutely. And, you know, I said to someone listening right now, like, you got to create a picture of your future that's bigger than the picture of your past. You've got to have the courage to sit down with a pen and paper and begin to ask yourself some questions about where you see yourself in 3 years' time, 5 years' time, 10 years' time, what you desire to have, be, do. You know, begin to dream on paper for yourself again, even though it seems like you can't see any situation, any way out of where you're at right now. No, you can, but you gotta get it on paper. You gotta talk to someone like Johnny says. You know, have a conversation with someone. If it's a counselor, if it's a friend, if it's a trusted other, you gotta get that picture in your heart, in your mind, because you are full of amazing potential. You're full of greatness. You're full of so many things, and no matter what you're facing right now, you've probably done harder things in your life before this point that will, if you look at it realistically, you can get through this. You can do this. You've done harder things, man.
Yeah. I remember someone saying on multiple occasions, you've heard this, but the things that you're believing about yourself, or the things that you're telling yourself, are they true? Like, I'm no
Mm.
good, or it never works out for me. Okay. Well, have you got examples of when things have worked out? And then you go, oh yeah, well, there was that time in this and time in that. And do you know what? Actually, more often than not, I pull through.
Come
And
on,
this sickness, this belief that everything's going to go wrong, is actually, there's not even any evidence for it, let alone whether
come on,
it's happening.
come on.
You're pretty much,
It's
you're
good.
touching on goals there. It's
Mm,
ridiculous, isn't it? Goals. It's the
mm,
simplest thing. It's like eating
mm,
right. How do you get healthy? Yeah, eat right. Do a
mm,
few press ups. Goals fall into that. How do you create a brilliant
mm,
life? Why do people
mm.
struggle so much with the idea of simply setting a goal and believing in it?
Well, goal setting doesn't work, Johnny. Goal setting doesn't work. That's the problem. We have to do the work. Setting goals, anyone can set goals, but goal setting itself doesn't work. It only works if somebody takes action on those goals. And that's where people fall down all the time. And so when they do that a few times, they get disappointed, they get discouraged, and they think, oh, then goal setting obviously isn't the way I need to do it. And so they don't do it at all. Do you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah, I got that. Yeah, they tried. I tried that. It didn't work. Give me something
Yeah.
else. Okay.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you know
So,
my whole gym activity? I probably said this before, so apologies to listeners if I'm boring the hell out of you. But my going to the gym, I used to go to the gym on the focus of I need to feel good and look good. But of course, I'd go to the gym, work out for 4 or 5 months, or book an event and then do the event. Then I'd say, oh, I look good, I feel good, and then stop going.
mm,
So then I read this book, The Power of Habits, and I realized that my whole context for getting fit was completely out of whack. So I
mm,
need to create a new one, which does fit into goals really. It's about my children's future and my fun with them. And it's about smashing it at work. You know, I
mm,
don't perform well when I've got a backache or when I'm feeling negative.
mm,
Going to the
mm.
gym means my back doesn't hurt, and it means I'm feeling positive. And now
Brilliant.
that's the reason to get up. That, along with Mel Robbins. Have you ever heard of Mel Robbins?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
She's got a lot to answer for, that woman. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. She's like in my head in the morning. Like, okay, Mel, I'm on this. So yeah,
It's
so like,
great.
what's the telltale
I
sign?
set goals. I set goals. I've got a journal. I look
Go
at my
on then,
goals
tell me
every
about your
day.
journal. Tell me.
I write goals every day. I've so many different goal setting processes over the years, and I whittled it down for me now to 5 things that I focus on. Number 1 is my relationship with God, and every day I'll journal and ask the question: how might I grow my relationship with God today, so that I can have more peace and more power? Say, for example, and I might ask, and the end part of this sentence can change, by the way. So that a might part can change. So how can I enhance the relationship with my wife and children today, so that we might have more connection
Yep.
and love? Or how might I improve my health today, so that I might have more energy and strength? How might I um, how might I achieve my financial target of X today, so that I might be able to give generously and do X? And then how might I, it's the last one, how might I develop or grow the life in our church today, so that we might achieve X, for example? So I focus
And
on
is
5
that you
areas.
challenging your mind to come up with answers?
Absolutely.
That's the
Absolutely.
reticular activating system. That's what they call that, right?
That's right.
Yeah,
That's
man.
right. That's right. You know what I'm saying? So I just do that, and I find that it works for me, man.
And so for someone that's not
I
heard of the
love it.
Raz, so I mean,
Yeah,
I'm hoping. Do you know what? If you haven't heard from it before, then search
yeah,
out. But basically, this is the non-scientific version. It's sort of somewhere in here in the front of your mind, and when you keep asking it questions, it will go
mm,
off and actually find answers. But if you just
yeah,
leave it idle, it will flipping sit there idle or
yeah,
come up with garbage. And so
yeah,
and you can listen to Tony Robbins, or you can go
mm,
Eric Nightingale guy, Zig Zig with the whole. You are who you what you are. You are your thoughts. You are what you think about.
yeah,
So if you've got a goal, focus
mm,
on that goal. Be thinking about that goal. And actually, I love what you just said there. Is that our brain is a wondrous machine. You know, if you've got your
mm.
faith in God or your faith in the
Absolutely.
universe, it's ask and it shall. Was that from the passage? Ask and it shall be done. Knock and he shall open. How does that work? Check out Johnny the pastor.
Knock, uh, ask and you shall receive.
Ask and you shall receive. And so if
Yeah,
you're not down with the Bible, then you can go with the Raz helping you out there. But equally, there's a lot of wisdom in the Bible, and it's about putting it out there. Ask and you shall receive. Don't
uh-huh.
ask. Guess what? You're not going to find anything out.
Come on,
And so how do you
ask. Yeah.
So what's some of your tactics to sticking with your goals? I mean, okay, so let's just get back on point here. Someone's listening to this part of the emergency break series.
Yeah,
They're really facing down the barrel. They could be feeling depressed. Hell, they might even
yeah,
be feeling suicidal. And if you
yeah.
are in that place, you've got to get some help, guys. But in terms
Mm-hmm.
of a goal and you setting a goal and then falling off that goal, like for me, not going to the gym, it felt awful. 3 months later, like the resignation and like the yuckiness.
Mm.
For someone,
Accountability, bro.
okay, that's good.
Accountability.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Like as human beings, our tendency is to procrastinate. So we'll put things off or we'll make excuses. But when there's a trusted person in our life that we respect, that we've given our word to, somehow we raise our game to a different standard. So what I found is, for example, going to the gym. I've got a personal trainer. I've got a boxing trainer, who I work with probably once a week at least.
in case you don't
And
know,
I
Errol's
just
about 6'2" already. Okay, so
so
now you're going to.
and my trainer's about 5'2".
Okay.
But so I work with him on the pads.
Yeah.
I need that motivation. I need that encouragement. I've got a lady who's a nutritionist, and so every 30 to 60 days we have a phone call. How you getting on, Errol? What's your food diary like? What have you been eating? On my case, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Get to think about my food. I've got my journal, I've got a team that I'm leading that hold me accountable to delivering a high standard of leadership for them, So ultimately, whatever that, if you're in a situation right now and you've got goals and you're not following through, you're not taking action, and it's up to you to put some kind of accountability structure or system in your life that will help you get that result. So if it is fitness, then it might be a health and fitness group, might be a running group, might be a cycling group, it might be a personal trainer. If it's around food, then it might be a nutritionist or a dietitian, or again, your personal trainer. If it's around finance, then you might need to get a coach, or you might need to, start your own mastermind group around finance even.
Yeah.
Whatever it is you need to do, that's what I decided to do. I started my own mastermind groups. I started my own coaching groups. I needed to support myself. I started things that would also help me, as well as helping other people, to help me get my accountability levels up.
Yeah.
So you can't forget making excuses. Like, already, guys, if you're listening right now, you probably have the mindset already that it's excuses or success. You choose. You can't have both, right? And so get accountable, man.
I think you can put tactics in place like that. My watch, it's a Fitbit. Every day I
Come
know
on.
how many steps I've done, which I have read that some people end up having issues about that. But personally, I'm like, okay, cool. 5 times this week, I've done 10,000 steps, or 15,000, or a couple of days.
That is amazing.
And then and then you realise, okay, I didn't this week. Okay, what happened this week? Oh, right, I didn't go to the gym quite so much. So there's other ways of putting accountability in there.
Yeah.
We listen to a podcast now. If you don't know enough about personal power or falling back in love or faith or any other of the 6 keys, there's podcasts out there. I mean, for me, Team Super Dad has been actually about that. It's about finding a resource for people to get the information, the mini modules that are coming along soon, giving people access to breakthroughs in those areas. Listen, let's change gears a little second. That's a phrase you hear on lots of podcasts. I'm not sure if I like it or not, but we've touched on faith, right, a couple of times. People could be listening to this, be like, I don't believe in God, and and that could suddenly have them switch off, right? So this isn't about convincing people to believe in God. I'm a Christian. It's part of how we connected so strongly together. I believe. I still believe that faith in a bigger power, faith that the universe is on our side, faith that people are generally good. What can you say about faith that if people can check in on themselves and realize they've lost faith, how does someone go about rebuilding a sense of faith in their life? That's a massive question.
It is. It's a huge question.
Ponder that and answer it.
Okay. I'll be honest. I'm up front. Like, when it comes to faith, I'm a Bible believing Christian, so my understanding of faith and definition of faith is based on, the Bible, if you like.
Yeah. So,
and I build my faith through spending time reading the Bible and through prayer, and getting to know the Lord. So my faith grows. You know what I mean? So, and of course, I'm sure the people listening right now who've got different sources for their faith, and that's cool. And I feel like you've got to know for yourself. The faith journey is a very personal one. Somebody who's got the people are very, very, very particular, very personal about how they choose their certain faith pathway. And I feel like we've got to just let that be okay. And faith is important to me. My faith is central to my life. Others might have a different faith or no faith, or, believe in whatever. You got to figure out what works for you and do what works for you. And if you find a better way that works for you, then go for that better way. I think I found the best way and I'm pursuing that way,
So there's a confidence there. And I think that's the point, isn't it? Having a faith for you that works gives you a foundation on which you can fall back on.
Yeah. I mean, 100%. Like, but it's no good. Like, so the Bible says that faith without works is dead, right? So, like, having faith is one thing, but not doing anything with that faith. Faith's like a muscle. Like, faith grows when we use it, we work that faith. And the more we step out in faith, the more confidence we get, the more courage we find, the more we know ourselves better, the more we find out new things, new opportunities, new stuff come our way, and we actually live out that faith. And so there's something about having faith, yes, but then actually putting that faith to work is probably equally, if not more important.
Yeah. Okay, good answer. And I get there's a lot. I quoted, I've written it down somewhere, but who did I quote the other day? I think it was Zig Ziglar, actually, talking about the more you help other people, the more you get what you want from life. Or the more you chase what you want, the less likely it's to happen. But the more you help other people get what they want, the more you're likely to get what you want.
Yeah.
And that's a purpose-led life, which in essence is a faith-led life. I can see that. Whoa, that's deep. We're getting deep, man. Well, what about community? You touched on your story, postcode to the globe.
What's interesting about community, Johnny? I got married 3 years ago.
Yeah, I was there. Thank you very much. It was. Do you know?
4 years now.
We were just talking a minute ago about Eric Thomas's podcast and listening to, an American black urban sort of podcast styled show, and there I was in your wedding. I think I was like about four white people in the wedding, but it didn't feel odd at all. It was. Personally, I like experiences that are different from the norm. But so grateful for the invite, for the opportunity to be there, for all that.
It's great to have you guys there, man.
Caribbean. We were mixing up Caribbean and African food, weren't we? Crazy food. It was a brilliant day. Yeah.
One of the keys to me getting married, if you like. So if you imagine that I came from a background where, I was promiscuous for my whole life, up until I became a Christian. My parents are divorced. I had no example of, a solid and healthy marriage around me. And so I was just bumbling through relationships, literally bumbling through, but poof, poof, car crash after car crash, And then what made the difference for me was community. So at the church I was attending at the time, they started this group for singles, right? Not everyone would fancy this, but there's a group for singles, and there's a lady that was leading the group who was like a teacher. Her ministry or her gifting or passion, if you like, was in the area of supporting singles. And there's a community of us singles that would meet together once a month, say, and she began to teach us about marriage and about, how marriage and why marriage and God's plan for marriage and laying the foundation for your marriage and these different principles. And this community of people basically transformed my mind. Being in this community, my whole thinking of what marriage was and relationships just totally changed by being in this group of people. And I was almost, you could say, delivered. I was set free from any old paradigms to understanding in the simple sense of what marriage was and the benefits of it. So that community really transformed me. So that community, along with the mentor, the person that led the community, along with prayer, and with the three key things that transform me. So for me, community, I say that because those three principles to me have proven to be pivotal for handling any transition or growing to any new level. So community and mentor and prayer are the three things to me that I need to go to any next level. So whether that's business, whether it's finance, whether it's marriage, I need community, I need a mentor, and I need prayer.
Yeah. And, there could be, I think, coming out of a marriage, coming out of a relationship, losing someone you love, suddenly there is acute detachment from community. And it's dangerous. And that's where this scourge of loneliness comes in.
You've got to get back in community as quick as you can, guys. I was in debt for ages, right? And so I rang up Debtors Anonymous, and I joined the Debtors Anonymous community. And every week there'd be a phone call with a bunch of strangers. We'd check in, and we'd share how crap we were doing with debt and finances. And we'd encourage each other. And I'd leave that call feeling like, flip me, I'm not on my own.
Yeah.
There are people who are worse off than me. Like, what on earth is going on? Like, sort yourself out, mate. And within a matter of time, I give a lot of my recovery to joining Debtors Anonymous.
Wow.
Yeah, my community is everything, guys. Don't be ashamed of getting in community. If you want to move forward in life, if you're tired of being stuck, if you're tired of being tired of where you're at, just join a community that can help you get through it.
And that's how I didn't expect. You never expect anything when you ask a question, but what I see from that is maybe the very community you need to be in is the thing you least want to talk about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like who knows what it could be? It could be an addiction. It could be debt. It could be whatever. It's like, okay, is there a community out there? Because guess what? If there is, that's probably the group that's going to help me find my way out of this. And I've written some notes here, and I've just written about the dangers of falling into negative communities. A negative community could be a group of mates that go to the horse races and bet all the time. Positive community would be gambling anonymous and actually pulling yourself into that positive space. So yeah, wow, that was it was funny. It's the same subject but slightly different angle. I was moaning about my gym before Christmas. I was saying it's a great gym, I love it, but no one talks to each other. And then I realized, well, how many people did I say hello to? So now, since January,
and everyone's got headphones on.
No, well, yeah, kind of. But since January, I'm always morning, hello. I'm actually asking people's names, and I am having some breakthroughs with some people.
Yeah,
There's a couple of guys there who simply refuse to acknowledge my existence, which I have no idea why. I'm trying not to take it personally. But and I guess that's another point, isn't it? If the community you join doesn't work, don't let it be a sign that oh my God, woe is me.
Personal.
Actually, go out and find a same subject, different group.
Absolutely.
Wow. Whew. Great talking, Errol. Absolutely brilliant. So what are you up to next? I mean, like you said about where we started, the schools, the leaders. What's it called? Leaders Engage. What's the
Emerge leadership.
Emerge leadership. What's next? All these goals and these strategies you shared with us. What's next? Where are you taking it all?
You know, right now, I'm having to really the goal is to obviously grow the business or reinvent the business right now. So we've just got a better product offering for greater impact, really. So we're working on that, really. The other thing we're doing is we are putting a new book out this year. So that's linked to the product offering thing. So a new book coming out later this year, by the grace of God. That's almost finished now. Immediately today, I'm on my way to Leeds right now to go and do a couple of workshops for a housing association up in Leeds. Then on Friday, I'm in London to go and do some stuff with a school down in London. And that's my week, man. That's my week.
Awesome. And I mean, anybody who's thinking about getting someone in to make a difference to teenagers, to make a difference to a group of students, Errol is definitely a man you should consider, because I've seen the impact he has with young people, and just the sheer size of him on stage, let alone what comes out of his mouth. What should people do if they want to connect with you and talk about having you come and speak at their school or university or business?
That's great, thank you. So go to www.emerge-leadership.com. Find me on social media. I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Twitter, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram. You can follow there and you'll track some of the work that we're doing and our stories there. Just drop me a line, get in touch. I'm always ready to have a chat. We've got a great team of people who can come and literally, if it's about culture in your organization, we can help you to create a culture that is cohesive and fun and effective. If it's about young people, we can help you to build the leadership in your young people, help them to grow their confidence, engagement, and motivation. If it's about your team, it's your office team, and you want to invest in the well-being of your team, whether they're leaders or they're middle or staff members generally, we can help you to increase staff engagement, help you to improve staff well-being, and get them motivated to get results for you. That's what we do. So please do get in touch. I'd love to have a chat with you.
Awesome. And we'll link all that up, and especially your books and stuff in the show notes as well. Errol, it's been absolutely brilliant talking to you. I said to everybody, for me, it's not about having hundreds of different guests on. It's about having people that the Team Super Dad community can get to know and trust, and enjoy checking back in with. So I look forward to having you back on. I'm putting together some group chats as well, where we'll sort of hang out and get 5 or 6 of us talking. There's a lot of guys who are home alone, and simply having podcasts on in the background is a real support. So I'm looking forward to having some fun. I'll get you those for sure.
Great.
Errol,
Cheers, man.
God bless. All the best, my friend. I'll see you soon.
Thank you, man. All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Awesome interview, Errol. What a support that man has been to me. I hope you enjoyed that interview. If you are someone who wants to come on the Team Super Dad podcast, if there's someone you know, a dad who has absolutely overcome adversity and created the best life ever, then I'd love to have them on the podcast. Whether that's you or it's someone else you know, then brilliant. Don't forget the Hangout, which is our social. It's a video hangout for anyone to come on and join. You're welcome to come over onto that. It's on a Monday night. And generally, just all round, please like and share this podcast. I would love to get your feedback. If that's a positive feedback, then by all means give it to me on iTunes as a review. And if it's a less than positive, constructive feedback, then by all means email it to me at johnnyjensen@Team Superdad or on any of the Team Superdad social channels. Thanks again. It's been great to have you here. I'll see you on the next Team Superdad podcast. Oh, and of course, if you're interested in the Rebuild program, that's dads creating their best life ever. It's a 5-week program which leads into the Superdad, Team Superdad HQ, which is the paid premium area where we have coaching, where we have firewalking, where we have just a real committed group of men who are working together, supporting each other with the advice and input from amazing coaches, and that is the Team Superdad HQ monthly service. All of that I can chat to you about in person if you reach out to me. Until then, I'll see you in the Facebook group, and I'll see you on the next Team Superdad podcast. Team Superdad out.
This has been Team Superdad. Find us at teamsuperdad.com. Join the Rebuild program and create the best life ever for you and your children. You are not alone. You're on Team Superdad.